Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the webinar on Healing Beyond Symptoms, the connection between beliefs, emotions, and health. Thank you for taking 90 minutes out of your busy schedules to be here with me. So welcome, everyone. Before we begin, let's go over a few quick guidelines to make sure we have a smooth session. Please keep your mic muted. This is an engaging experience. Do not hesitate to participate. Okay, so let's get started. And if you do not want to interact, that's okay. Listeners are more than welcome. I hope this is a valuable session for you. Okay. I can see some familiar names here, some new ones. So thank you for being here. And let me quickly introduce myself. I am Sana Naseem. I'm happy to be your facilitator for today's session, Healing Beyond Symptoms, the connection between beliefs, emotions, and health. I am a certified theta healing instructor from Pakistan, and I have the honor of being the first four theta healing instructors in the country. In addition to my work in theta healing, I'm also a mindfulness meditation teacher and a business mentor. I have worked with the Cherie Blair Foundation as a mentor on their women entrepreneurship program for almost a year. And I am the CEO of Quantum Mind, a wealth tech company, and have been an entrepreneur for over 10 years, with Quantum Mind being my second venture. So my professional background, my certifications, my personal experiences, they all combine an understanding of mind-body connection. And based on all of this, based on my professional experience, and I will share some information about this topic and practical tools for you to use um, so that you can use this information, the information that you will get in the next 90 minutes, you can use it in your daily life. So in today's session, we'll talk about the connection between beliefs, emotions, um, and health. We'll also briefly explore theta healing, which is a powerful meditation technique. And don't worry if you're not familiar with theta healing, I'll provide a brief overview during our discussion. So let's pray for a stable internet connection for everyone and let's begin. Those of you who have just joined us, welcome. Can changing thoughts and emotions really heal our body? We will talk about a perspective on healing that goes beyond just managing symptoms. In the next 90 minutes, we will explore the powerful connection between beliefs, emotions, and health. And I want to invite you to be open to this question. What if your health challenges, what if whatever you are experiencing in your life, whether it's psychological, emotional, or physical, what if it is not just happening inside your body? What if it's happening in your mind? I want you to be open to this possibility. And let's explore the connection between mind and body by starting with something familiar. So when we are stressed, whether it's from rushing to meet deadlines or we are worried about the future, our body reacts in different ways. Our heart may start racing, breathing can become shallow, we may experience digestive issues. We all react to this in different ways. This is all part of our body's natural fight and flight response, which is a reaction from our nervous system. Our nervous system is designed to help us handle different challenges, and the fight and flight response makes sure that we have a defense mechanism inside us. Now, this response, this fight and flight response, can be super helpful in some situations, but it's not healthy or sustainable way of living if our challenges continue for a long period of time. So now imagine living in a state of stress for days, weeks, months, or even years. Our body is not built to stay in fight and flight mode. Over time, the body starts to break down. And if it's not treated, this stress, the stress that we're talking about, chronic stress, it often manifests as physical symptoms like fatigue, pain, or other health issues. But the question is, why does this happen? Why do we have to feel the impact of our emotions in our physical body? To understand this, think of emotions like hot potatoes. When we experience emotions that are too intense or too overwhelming, the brain struggles to process them all at once. Just like we would not be able to hold on to a hot potato straight out of a boiling water. The brain does not want to deal with the heat of these emotions if they are too intense. So the brain tries to pass them to other organs of the body. The brain just wants to offload the burden. Always remember this. And depending on the intensity of the or the heat of the emotions or the way the emotions are managed by us, over time, this transfer of emotions from brain to body, from brain to different organs, can create physical imbalances and illnesses. And that's how our emotional experiences impact our physical health. Are you with me so far? Yeah? Okay. So all our experiences, they create a strong emotions in the body and they are stored as energy. These experiences are recorded in two places. One is the conscious mind and the other one is the subconscious mind. Now, the subconscious mind holds majority of our experiences and the conscious mind retains only a portion of our experiences, our memories. So imagine, look at this iceberg, the image that's there on the slide. You can see this picture. The part of iceberg above water represents the conscious mind. And the much larger submerged part, this part which is hidden, submerged underwater, it represents the subconscious mind. And this is where all our memories, our emotions, past feelings, everything is hidden. And when we go through any experience in life, even if we are not fully awake or conscious, like during sleep or moments of unconsciousness, the subconscious mind, this part, continues to record everything that we go through, and it creates beliefs. It creates patterns in our life. And we start to act based on those beliefs and patterns. And we will talk about this a bit more later in the presentation. So, the part of any experience that is visible to us, the pain, the hurt, the emotional impact, it is linked to what is registered in the conscious mind. And when we experience something, we are consciously aware of those emotions, memories, but there are some memories and emotions that are not so visible. They remain hidden, but they do influence our decisions, our everyday life. And these responses, memories, emotions, beliefs, all of this create fears, resentments, regrets, and different thought patterns in our life. This is why we say that beliefs are super important and super powerful. Beliefs are not just abstract ideas, they are signals that shape everything around us. And these beliefs usually come from our subconscious mind, this part of our brain. The subconscious mind usually runs the show. It runs the show 95% of the time. It's like a program running in the background, shaping our thoughts, our actions, and even our body. And the beliefs that are stored in our subconscious, beliefs like, I'm not good enough, life is hard, they act as filters. These beliefs, they determine how we interpret the world around us and then how our body is going to respond to it. For example, if you have a belief, I'm always sick, your subconscious mind, which is 88 to 95% of your life, it will create behaviors and conditions to make that belief true for you. So the subconscious mind will look for signals that will confirm the belief, and then the body will accept such signals in different forms so that it can validate your experience or your belief. Now, it's not because subconscious mind wants to hurt us. No. It's because subconscious mind is doing exactly what it's programmed to do. to protect you. So conscious mind creates a story for whatever we experience in our life, because this is the way that subconscious mind can protect us. And subconscious mind rules about 88 to 95% of our lives, so it shapes most of our beliefs, behaviors, and responses. So when we experience something, maybe an intense emotion, a charged emotion, and if we do not know how to regulate that emotion, the brain starts to feel heavy, and it wants to pass on the responsibility of that particular emotion to other organs of the body. Hot potato. And with this process of passing on the heaviness of an experience, a charged emotion, from brain to different organs of the body, that heavy energy is then stored in different parts of our body. And depending on the intensity of the experience that created that particular emotion, our internal defense system will either fight back or it will become weak. And when the system weakens, the unprocessed emotion, which is stored in the body, it causes an imbalance. And if it remains unresolved, the emotion remains unresolved, then it can even show up as physical illness. For example, unresolved grief might impact our lungs, because lungs are related to the emotion of sadness. Or suppressed anger might affect the liver, because this is where anger is stored in the body. Liver. The frequency of anger resonates with the energy and frequency of liver. This is how the mind's inability to process and release emotional burden can contribute to health issues in our life. Now, the science behind this is fascinating. Our brain is constantly sending signals to our body through our nervous system. And our body is always sending signals back to the brain. So we can think of it as a feedback loop. And based on this feedback from the brain to the body, we decide how to act, how to feel. And this thinking, feeling, behavior, this loop, it creates a perception. And eventually our reality, it creates our reality. So if our thoughts and beliefs are constantly rooted in fear or negativity, that loop, it creates a stress. It creates imbalances in different organs of the body. And it creates issues in the way we think, feel, and act. But what if we could just disrupt this cycle? Disrupt this cycle, change it, change the cycle which is rooted in negative limiting beliefs. Can we do that? Before we talk about interrupting this cycle, let's talk about beliefs. These are subconscious thoughts that shape how we see the world. Now, beliefs are lenses through which, belief is a lens through which we see the world, we experience our life. For example, if someone believes that they always get sick in winter because this is what their experience is, what do you think will happen? Their mind will look for evidence to confirm that belief, and their body will respond in the same way. Winter, sickness, okay, evidence. And it will become their reality. This isn't magic. It's how our subconscious mind works. It takes our belief as instructions. And our subconscious experiences, our subconscious memories create patterns in our life. And we continue to live our life based on those patterns until we break the cycle, until we interrupt it. So if our life is not where we want it to be, if our health is not at a level we want it to be at, then it's a good idea to just pause and reflect on what beliefs and emotions am I holding on to that could be influencing my body. Remember the hot potato analogy of emotions? So not only our beliefs, but our emotions also impact our health. We have already talked about this. So when we experience emotions like anger, fear, sadness, they don't just stay in our mind. They impact our health. They create biochemical response in our body. And if we know how to regulate the emotions, then that's great. But if we do not know how to mindfully regulate our emotions, then it can create problems in our life. So maybe someone is holding on to anger from a past experience or relationship or fear about the future. The body becomes a storage unit for that energy. And emotions play a huge role in shaping how we see the world and how our body feels. So when we go through a strong emotional experience like feeling unloved, feeling rejected, scared, or unworthy, then our brain tries to make sense of it by forming a belief. So, for example, if someone felt unloved when they were growing up, they may create a belief like, I'm not good enough, I'm unlovable. And over time, this belief becomes a part of how they see the world, even if it's not the truth, but this is their truth. This is their reality based on their subconscious belief. So now, if the emotions are not fully processed, maybe because it felt too overwhelming to deal with at that time, these emotions, they don't just disappear. Our body holds on to them almost like a record of what happened, and they create blockages in our organs. And the mind creates a story, and the body responds. It's incredible how deeply our beliefs influence our physical experience. And I see this every day in my theta healing classes and sessions. When people change their thought patterns and work on their limiting beliefs, they often experience instant healing. And many even find relief from physical pain just by shifting their mindset. So, what we believe, we create. So, and even if two people have experienced the same things in life, it is not necessary that they will experience the same health issues. Always remember this. The way these blockages manifest in our organs depend on the intensity of the emotion experience, how severe the emotional experience was, and the duration, how long it has been there in the body, in the mind. Now, intensity and duration of the emotion, it matters a lot. So we cannot and we should not compare people and their physical or emotional pain. Over time, these stuck emotions can disrupt the flow of energy in our body, and they can create physical problems. So, for instance, if someone is holding on to sadness for a very long time without processing the emotion, it might weaken their immune system. Unprocessed fear might show up as kidney issues. All these symptoms is our body's way of signaling that something unresolved needs attention, that the brain has passed on the hot potato to other organs and it's time to work on it. It's like our body is asking us to pay attention and heal. So, up till now, we have discussed how our organs are physically and emotionally connected to the brain. Our body remembers the experiences we have been through and all the emotions. They're in our subconscious mind. And if they are not processed in an appropriate manner, in a timely manner, they can shape our beliefs and eventually show up as physical challenges in our life. And when the mind is no longer when the mind no longer believes in stressful thoughts, the body can stop holding on to those stressful experiences. This is how deep the mind-body connection is. And maybe you're wondering whether every emotion affects an organ. Then the simple answer is yes. Emotions do impact different organs. Different emotions are stored in different organs of the body, and there's a complete science behind it. And even the medical world acknowledges this connection. That's why when we experience issues like hair loss, dandruff, skin problems, muscle spasm, doctors often recommend reducing stress or making lifestyle changes because they are aware of the fact that by improving our emotional state, we can improve our internal health and it can have a positive effect on our organs. And when we talk about the impact of beliefs and emotions on our health, usually the analytical mind wants to challenge the fact that our beliefs and emotions have an impact on our body. And they ask this question that, okay, if there is a relationship between beliefs and emotions and physical health, then why are some babies born sick? They don't have beliefs that could cause health issues. Why do babies get sick when they are, let's say, a year old or 2 years old? Because they are so young. They haven't had time to develop their own beliefs. So what about them? So to truly understand this mind-body connection, we need to start at the very beginning. And by the beginning, I don't just mean the moment we are in our mother's womb. I am referring to an even earlier point in time. We are going to keep it simple so that all of us can understand it in an easy way. When a baby is conceived, they get their DNA, the genetic blueprint from both the parents. We are aware of this. But the way parents live even before conception, like their diet, their stress levels, exposure to toxins, their habits, lifestyle habits, um, anxiety, their stress levels, their ancestral traumas, their unprocessed emotions, everything can influence the development of a baby. Because children do not just inherit their parents' genes, they inherit all the signals those genes receive from the environment. And these signals, which are accepted by children, are shaped by the ancestors, the parents' thoughts, emotions, behaviors, even before conception. So, in a way, we can say that DNA is always listening to everything that is happening around us and in the genetic line. And then it is passed on to the baby. Now, keeping this in mind, let's go back to the question, why are some babies born sick, or why do they become sick early in their life? We know that as adults, our emotions, our beliefs, our behaviors can influence our physical health. But children, without any conscious choice, how do we explain their illness? So for children, the environment isn't just their surroundings. Their environment starts from the moment they are conceived, before conception, and then in the womb. So even before conception, all the emotions, the lifestyle, the stress, everything is recorded in the form of notes in the parents' bodies. And these notes from the parents' lifestyle can affect how the baby is formed, how it develops in the womb, and how their health will be throughout the life, unless the baby disrupts the cycle later in life. Okay, so what parents do before they conceive can leave a lasting imprint on their child's well-being. The thoughts, emotions, and behaviors of both parents before conception, usually it is 3 months before conception. It can also be moments or 2 hours or days before conception. It can create the first genetic impression for the baby. In simple terms, if the parents are living in an environment that is highly stressful, because let's say there is danger, or there's poverty, or there is fear, then the energy, the frequency of that fear is passed on as information, and this fear gets influence the conception of the child. So when the child grows up, they are fully capable of facing the same environmental conditions as the parents before conception, stress, poverty, whatever it is. And then there are better chances of survival for their child as an adult in their parents' environment. So even before we are born, our body is paying attention to clues from the parents' lives, their stress, struggles, or tough living conditions. It's nature's way of saying, okay, life looks rough out there. Let's prepare the body to handle it better. So the baby's development starts to adjust. Their brain, their body, and even how they handle emotions are shaped in a way so that they have better shot at surviving in the same kind of world their parents live in. So what our parents think about, how their life is, how they regulate their emotions, all of this is planted inside our bodies when we are conceived. Are you with me so far? So during pregnancy, the baby experiences another environment, which is the mother's body. Now, the blood flow of mother is in constant communication with the child. Her thoughts, feelings, even perceptions of the world are communicated to the baby through biochemical signals, through the thoughts of the mother, through mother's feelings, her emotions, her actions, her view of outside world, her view of people around her. It influences the development of the fetus. So if a mother feels safe and loved, her body produces oxytocin, the love hormone, and it supports healthy development of the baby. But if the mother is stressed, her body produces cortisol, which signals the baby to prepare for a stressful environment. So whatever emotions the mother experiences actually shape the child for better chances of survival. It's all about survival. Okay, so it prepares the child to survive if they are in a similar environment as their parents. And if you're wondering, what about the father, the impact of father's emotions and beliefs? Father is responsible for making sure that the environment is safe, that father is regulating the emotions well, because it has an impact on the well-being of the mother and, of course, the baby in the womb. So father is also a part of the environment of the baby. But if the father is abusive, then it will have a dramatic effect on the development of the child. So when the baby is inside the womb, the baby receives not just physical nourishment, but also emotional and energetic signals from both the parents. And the baby is always listening. Baby is always storing everything, words, emotions, vibrations, everything. So if the parents are living in joy, there is love and care, the baby absorbs that, and then we see a happy baby, because that baby um, was developed under a sense of safety and comfort. And on the other hand, if the mother is going through stress, fear, or neglect, the baby senses that. And even though the baby cannot consciously process these feelings inside the womb, they are stored in the subconscious mind. Remember the diagram? The submerged part, the part that was underwater? All these first experiences are the foundational experiences for the child. And these early emotional imprints can shape how the baby feels about the world. So, what parents think and feel, it gets passed on to the children. And when a baby is born with an illness, that means they may have inherited the beliefs and emotions and unresolved traumas of their ancestors, or absorbed the unprocessed grief or stress of their parents. And this emotional burden can be overwhelming for the baby's developing mind. And when the baby's developing mind was not able to process such intense emotional energy, what it did, it redirected the other parts of the body. It redirected the emotion to other parts of the body, and it impacted the child's organs. And this is how a baby was born with an illness. Okay. Any comments? Any questions? So now that we've explored why some babies are born sick, let's talk about another thing. When we are growing up, the thoughts and feelings of those around us shapes our reality. And when we begin to live by our own thoughts, which are often influenced by the limiting beliefs and patterns of others around us, our body reacts to different emotions. And with all the combined emotions, traumas, and experiences of our parents, our ancestors, then our own experiences, with everything combined, this is how we start to look at the world. Now, an interesting question. If we all inherit emotional memories from our ancestors, why do siblings have different personalities? Why they hold onto different beliefs or even face different health challenges? So, for example, why one person in the family shows signs of what is considered to be a hereditary disease, while others are completely unaffected? That's because we all carry seeds of emotions and traumas from our ancestors within us, from our genetic line. But whether these seeds grow or stay dormant, it all depends on the individual, the way that we think, the beliefs we choose to adopt from our parents, from our environment, from the society, and how we respond to it. These factors are super important in determining if and how the ancestral disease, how the ancestral patterns show up in our life. And that's why siblings who even grow up together, they may not have the same emotional or physical health challenges. And there can be another perspective, which is soul's perspective, that each one of us chose to be here, to be born. And this is a spiritual perspective. From a spiritual point of view, some people believe that soul chooses its body and life circumstances so that the soul can learn certain lessons. Because life is all about growth and evolution and reaching a higher state of being as a human. So when we examine the connection between beliefs, emotions, health through this lens, through a spiritual lens, through soul perspective, we can see that we can see every experience as part of the soul's journey. The soul may choose a specific body, a set of circumstances to learn what it needs to learn and then grow. So, if a child is born into a challenging environment, maybe the soul is seeking growth through those challenges. And in the same way, when a child is born with a health condition due to the environment they were exposed to when they were a baby in the womb, or even before that, when that child is born, it could be an opportunity for the parents to learn important lessons about life. And in this way, body and genes and environment become tools for the evolution of the soul for the parents and the child both. Okay, so I have worked with few clients who are parents of autistic children. And I also have a friend who works closely with autistic children. Through my interactions with them, I have noticed a common pattern. And of course, it is purely based on my personal and professional experience, not some research. So, what seems to help parents is when they shift their perspective from being a victim. So instead of asking why this is happening to me or my child, when they start to ask what can we learn from this experience, this shift their mindset. It opens the door to greater understanding and growth. And then they are more equipped to support their child. So instead of being the victim of the situation, when the parents start to ask questions from a spiritual lens of how it's helping them evolve, how the child's condition is helping them evolve, helping their soul to grow. They start to see the child and support the child with a different perspective, with a higher perspective. So that's why whenever a child under, let's say, 10 years of age has an illness, in Theta Healing, I'll talk about it in a bit, in Theta Healing, we always work on parents' limiting beliefs so that they can work on their challenges and be fully prepared to support their children. So to recap, from a spiritual point of view, some people believe that the soul chooses its body and the circumstances to grow and evolve. When a child is born with health challenges, it might be the soul might be here to teach lessons of resilience and compassion and self-love, not just to their families, but to the entire community. And I once heard of a story of a child who was born with severe disability, and the parents were initially hurt, deeply hurt, because that was their only child. But later they realized that their child had actually brought them closer as a family. So you see, we are all learning from each other. We are all learning from our experiences. Every single challenge that we face in life, whether it's emotional, whether it's physical, whether it's psychological, it is teaching us something. It's only when we change our lens, our perspective, that we can see the wisdom. So we can say that an individual is on 4 levels. Inner self, this is what we are born with. Our ancestors, their beliefs, their history, genetic memory of our family habits, our parents' emotions, their unresolved traumas, emotions, everything is registered in our body. Second level is the family. This is the environment we live in. And the people who are around us when we are growing up, our friends, our inner circle, people, our colleagues, their beliefs also have a huge impact on our well-being. Number 3, the society. We carry a lot of beliefs of the society we live in because we want to integrate, we want to belong, we want to be accepted. So a lot of our beliefs are also a result of collective consciousness. And these beliefs, they can lead to some a lot of health challenges as well. For example, society's pressure to live life in a certain way can create depression for someone who is not aligned with those expectations. Okay, so collective consciousness has a huge impact on our health. And then the third level is fourth level is the person himself or herself, who is a combination of inner self and the acquired self. Acquired self, whatever we learn from the environment, and the inner self, what we are born with. Okay, so yes, we inherit a lot of stuff from our genes, from our environment, and by the time we start using our thinking brain, it becomes our free will, whether we want to stay with that inherited stuff, be the victim of our genes, or do we want to bring everything in balance by working on ourselves? So now that we have an idea about the link between beliefs, emotions, and health, of course, we can talk a lot about each aspect in detail. But for now, we have established a link between beliefs, emotions, and health. What should we do with this information? Now, our thoughts create our beliefs. Our beliefs create our thoughts. And according to an estimate, we think 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. And 90% of the thoughts, they are rerun of the past experiences. Imagine 70,000 thoughts per day, and 90% are reruns of our past memories, past hurts, past experiences. So 90% of those thoughts are exact same as the day before. Now, we've already talked about the impact of beliefs on our emotions, on our health. And when 90% of daily thoughts are the same, that means we are living a life which is almost the same every day. So we continue to create same health challenges, same reality, and feel the same emotion. Our thinking create our feelings, and feelings create our thinking. It's all connected. So every day, when we wake up, we repeat the same cycle, same thoughts, feel the same way, and it conditions the body to stay in the same mode in the past. And eventually, we become a series of memorized behaviors. We become a series of unconscious emotional reactions, hardwired attitude. And then we have habits on autopilot. We wake up, we know exactly what to do. We see the same people around us, same co-workers, same feelings. We repeat the same actions. We feel the same way every single day. And in this way, we let the environment be the creator of our life, of our health. And the brain begins to create a software program where our body can do the same thing automatically without any conscious effort. Oh, it's 12:30 p.m. It's time for lunch. Oh, it's 6 p.m. Let's go home. The mind knows, and the body reacts in the same way. So with this constant programming of mind through our beliefs and experiences, conscious and subconscious memories, when out of 60 and 70,000 thoughts every day, 90% of the thoughts are a repeat of old experiences and actions, then imagine what kind of life we are creating for ourselves. The emotions we feel often create the same thoughts, which lead to same choices. And those choices then lead to same actions and behaviors. So when we repeat the same behaviors, we experience the same things in life so that the subconscious mind can validate these beliefs. And when our experiences stay the same, we end up feeling the same emotions again. And the cycle continues. It affects our biology, it affects our psychology, it affects everything. And the same challenges, they keep coming up again and again. And in this way, there won't be any change in our reality. I hope you're with me. If you have any questions um, or comments, please feel free to share them. The thoughts that we think, they create patterns in our life. And we start to identify with these patterns. And these patterns, they become our signature, our identity, our comfort zone. Now imagine someone who constantly thinks, I am always tired, I have no energy. Now, over time, this thought becomes a pattern. They start identifying with it. They believe that low energy is just who they are. This is how their life is going to be. This becomes their signature, their identity. And this belief shapes their action. Remember, we talked about this few minutes ago, beliefs, choices, actions. So with this belief, they might, let's say, skip social activities. They might avoid exercise because they don't have the energy. This is their signature. And if this pattern continues, it turns into their comfort zone, even if it's not helping them feel better. It's just something that they are comfortable with. So their body adapts to the cycle, and the lack of movement or proper nutrition reinforces the feeling um, of fatigue, and eventually this identity of always being tired becomes their signature way of living. This is how thoughts create patterns that shape our identity, and as a result, it influences our well being. So, to shift this, a person would need to consciously change their thoughts. So, instead of I am always tired, they can change it to I am capable of feeling energetic. And it can lead to small changes in the way that they are living their life. So, what should we do about all of this? How should we start? How do we start healing after understanding the link between beliefs, emotions, health, conscious mind, subconscious mind, everything? So, the first step is awareness. Simple awareness. We cannot change what we are not aware of. So create so when we create a new reality, a new health, the first step is to bring the subconscious programming to conscious awareness. And how can we do that? It's simple. We can look at our emotions that keep us stuck to the past. First step, awareness. By looking at the stuckness, the emotions that are keeping us stuck to the past. Why do we have to do this? The answer is simple. We have to break the cycle of thinking the same thoughts, feeling the same way every single day. And to break the cycle, to heal physically, to heal emotionally, it is important to decide, do these emotions belong into my future in the same unprocessed way? Or is there something that I'm willing to do about it? Am I willing to? Do I allow myself to understand them and then get to the root cause of how they are messing with my life? So here is a simple practice. In your own time, you can bring to mind one belief about your health. Maybe it's I'm always tired, or I'll never recover from this. Let's say never recover from arthritis. Okay, or it can be anything. Anything that's present for you, bring that to mind. Notice how that belief makes you feel. Does it feel empowering, or does it drain you? And if you remember, we talked about brain creating stories for us to live our life. So is this limiting belief bringing a story to your mind? Focus on that. Find out the story behind that belief. Bring it to awareness. Awareness is the first step in breaking free from limiting beliefs. So you don't need to judge yourself, just observe. Awareness, bring the story to your mind. How does it make you feel? And the next step is to rewrite it, change it. Change it by asking yourself what belief would serve me better instead of this one. The one that I'm believing in right now, the one that is creating all the challenges in my life. What do I want to replace it with? So instead of I'm always tired, replace it with a new story. My body has the ability to be energetic. So whatever your limiting belief it is, write it down. Then write down the replacement. Write it daily. Just say it daily. Believe in it. Make it your habit so that it's on autopilot. So that your subconscious mind can start to look for evidence that supports this new belief. And over time, your subconscious mind will adopt it as the truth, as your reality. But we don't stop here. Yes, we are rewriting the story. We are repeating it every day. But when we repeat a habit or thought, yes, it becomes a part of our reality. But even when we think positively using our conscious mind, which makes up only 5% of our thinking, our subconscious mind, which controls about 95% of our beliefs, our behaviors, might still be running an old program that will override um, the new story that we are repeating every day. This means that we are okay. Yes, we are consciously trying to think positive, say the affirmations, downloading ourselves, our body. Subconscious mind may still be stuck in a different pattern. I hope you're still with me. So when you are thinking and repeating with your 5% conscious mind, I am in health, I am healthy, I am energetic, I am full of life, I am loved, I deserve this promotion, I deserve to be successful. Your body, which is still operating in the 95% subconscious programming, will say, no, you are not healthy. No, you're not energetic. No, you don't deserve this. So you see the connection, mind and body, it must be aligned. So that positive thought never, when there is no alignment, the positive thought never gets past the brain. And it doesn't get a chance to influence the body. Because the mind and body are in opposition. The body must feel the new emotion that is attached to the new thought pattern. For example, I'm healthy, I'm energetic. So the body must also feel it. So we already know that emotions are stored in different organs of the body. So when we are using the 5% conscious mind to think positive thoughts about our life, our existence, our health, and we are also working on on feeling it in our body, then the body can understand and there can be alignment. Everything, the mind body can be aligned. And the emotional energy, the limiting energy that is stored in different parts of our organs, that energy can be replaced with something positive. And then, of course, we experience, in this way, we experience drastic changes in our life. So that means that the idea is to bring the mind and body on the same page, align them. And we align them by making sure that the subconscious mind gets new information, by resolving whatever happened in the past, by learning from it, and by understanding the experiences from a higher perspective. And that's where theta healing helps. Now, what is theta healing? It is an energy healing modality that was developed by Vayana Steibel in 1995, almost 30 years ago. It's a meditation technique. It's spiritual in nature. So through theta healing meditation, we go into a theta state, and in that state, we are connected to the power of the seventh plane of existence. We have 5 brain waves, and theta brainwave is activated when our body is asleep and our mind is awake. This is pretty cool stuff. Our body is asleep and mind is awake. This is the state that we need in order to make changes in our life. So the body is asleep. It can no longer keep us stuck to the memories and energies of the past. And we can reprogram it by going into the subconscious mind and intuitively changing the programs that are no longer serving us. How cool is that? So we have already talked about how children observe and learn from their environment. They are quick to adapt, and the things they learn between the ages of 2 to 7, it stays with them for a very long time, forever, if they don't change anything. So this is because during this period, their brains are in a theta state. They are highly receptive to learning and absorbing information in that brain, in that state. So imagine if a child has grown up in an environment where the parents are always fighting, and the child is observing all of this. Because of theta brain state, the child absorbs everything without understanding it, without analyzing it. The child cannot do this. Just absorbing, taking everything in. So as a defense mechanism, the child may develop a tendency to block communication from the outside world. The child may try to, they are in a theta state, they may try to move this pain, the painful interaction of the parents or the environment, from the mind to different organs, let's say to ears. And they may experience hearing problems. Or they may start to lose focus easily. Or may develop other psychological or behavioral issues. We know the whole cycle of beliefs, emotions, and health. How can we use this information? I've already talked about the first step, which is awareness. Bring your limiting beliefs about health, your life, to your conscious awareness. Now, using the theta healing technique, we can go into the depth of each limiting belief. Theta healing, which is a meditation technique, it activates our theta brainwave, which makes it easy for us to connect to our subconscious mind. And then to dig deeper into the root cause of every issue that we experience in life. So what we do in theta healing, we first meditate to activate the theta brainwave. Once we are in that state, we begin the process of digging to go into the depths of our subconscious mind, specific beliefs, patterns, programming. And these beliefs and patterns have a huge impact on our health, mental, physical health. So in theta healing, we dig for the root cause of the issue. And how do we do that? Through the process of digging. We ask questions. We activate the theta state, and then we ask questions about the belief. What the belief is, when was the first time you experienced that belief in life? And when we are in a theta activated state, we access the subconscious memory easily. And in this state, when we ask ourselves about the beginning of an issue, that when was the first time we experienced something, we often trace it back to childhood programming or the genetics. And this allows us to understand what we learned as children and how it shaped our particular belief. And then the next step in the process of theta healing digging is to ask ourselves if what I'm believing in is really beneficial for me. And if it is, then how is it serving me? And if it is not beneficial for me, then why am I stuck with this? Why am I stuck in the past? And we talked about this, that soul is always learning, always learning. Every experience is a learning experience. So we actually try to find out, through digging, we want to find out what are we learning from each experience. Why are we keeping our mind and body in the past, stuck there? Because that stuckness is creating limitations in our current life. So, what are we getting out of it? Why are we stuck there? And the body is being controlled by the subconscious past programming. And when in a theta state, after going through the series of questions using the theta healing technique, we receive the higher perspective on our situation, on challenges, health challenges, psychological challenges, whatever it is. The subconscious mind starts to understand the reasons behind the stuckness. And when the subconscious mind understands something, it gets easy for the mind and body to accept the new belief, a new way of living, while releasing what is no longer serving them. It gets easy for the body to move forward with the mind, to be aligned with the mind. And with the new belief, we start to think in a different way. And in this way, we prepare our body to be in alignment with our mind. And with this mind body coherence, we start to feel a different emotion. And when we feel different emotions, the energy goes directly to our organs and our physical health improves. Everything is connected. Any questions? So, for instance, someone has difficulty breathing in certain situations. Now, that can be a symptom of anxiety, maybe. Or maybe they have a habit of overthinking to the point of obsession. And it gets too much for their brain and it to handle, and they pass this stuckness to the lungs, and the person has difficulty breathing. Maybe there is a lot of frustration at your job, so you may constantly experience stomach aches. These are all symptoms. But what's going beneath all of this? Once we resolve that by understanding the mind body connection, and we can live a different life. Sadness, grief, anxiety, it's all stored in the lungs. Suppressed anger is stored in liver. Fear is stored in kidneys. So if there is a lot of fear in your life and you're not able to process it, it may have an impact on your kidneys, because that's the safest place for the brain to send the hot potato to. So in addition to medical care, it is important to find out the deeper emotional reasons for the patterns in our life. And when we apply the theta healing technique, the questions we ask are: when did it begin? And when was the first time we experienced that situation? How is it beneficial for us? And how are we evolving as a person during these experiences? Once we understand all of this, it gets easy for our mind and body to release the stuckness through the witnessing process that we perform in theta healing. We witness the release process through the creator's highest perspective. And then we download new feelings, new beliefs on subconscious levels of our belief system. So if you're not a theta healer and you do not plan to be one, don't worry. You can still use this information that you received during this webinar by understanding the reasons. Understand the reasons why you are holding on to the belief patterns. Why you're holding on to the past hurt, the pain. And ask yourself, who would you be once you let go of the past? By understanding the wisdom behind the experience. And in some situations, um, you may not immediately understand the situation, the wisdom behind the situation, and that's okay. That's where you get to surrender and still move towards a different way of being. By not being stuck to that particular situation and surrendering to the highest wisdom, that yes, I will understand the wisdom when it's time. When my divine timing is activated, I will understand the wisdom behind it. But until then, I'm going to live my life in a way that comes easy to me, beyond my comfort zone, beyond the signature that I have created for myself. So, okay, so that's it for today. I hope you found value in what we discussed. Of course, if you would like to explore theta healing further, then please do get in touch with me. I teach the theta healing practitioner certification courses. I would love to have you in my class. If you have any questions or comments, please do share.
Thank you for this seminar. It has been very clear and very enlightened. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for attending this. Oh, very good. Okay, so you were able to relate to some of the examples. Excellent. That's great. Now, just use the information in a way that comes easy to you. And this is the beginning. Just change whatever you need to change and apply the technique, apply different questions to your life, and reflect on what's happening in your life to get to the root cause of it. In your seminar, have me analyze some of So on that note, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your time. And any more questions, comments? Okay. So take care of yourself.